this right there. So there's a big huge hole in the block. I've got my entire there's a couple things that I did to my Subaru that really just actually ruined it. I really want to make this video as a caution, as cautionary tales as it were, for anybody who has a Subaru, period. Let me tell you a story about my Subaru, okay? There was this one time that I was driving down the road after I had just put a brand new motor in my car, and this dude comes out of nowhere. Literally, like I'm driving like this down the road, right? And a guy from over there, like on the other side, like where that Beamer is right now, just whoosh, like right in front of me. And so I'm like, oh shit. And there was like, it was like this right here. And so I like pulled over in there and he hit me in the back and I spun around and spun into the road. And really made me upset because obviously it just destroyed my car. Absolutely destroyed my car. And this was right after I'd blown my motor, and just literally like a week before that I put a new one in. And so what did I do? Obviously I go and I buy a new car, but I just went and bought another Subaru, and that Subaru had a blown motor in it, right? So you're seeing where this is going. My Subaru is kind of a Frankenstein, right? It's all new sorts of things, like that one guy that says you have a boat and you replace all the sails and then you replace the poop deck, and do you still have the same boat? Kind of like that guy. I drove that car for years, absolutely like drove the piss out of it. I wasn't like super abusive to it, not like, there was nothing crazy. But there was a couple things that I certainly did that were stupid, and the dumbest thing that I did of all that I'll save to the end so you guys can have that to look forward to. One of the dumb things that I did was I didn't let my car warm up all the time. I would start it and kind of just gas it. I know that it's like, it's pretty controversial whether or not that actually needs to happen, but I certainly think that for Subarus you should do that. Another thing is like I would do the repairs myself, and I would leave steps out that were really hard. Like there was, on one of my wheel bearings, there's like a seal that goes around on the inside, and I forgot to put it on when I like pressed the bearing in. And so it was like, I would have to basically disassemble the whole bearing hub, and it would, you know, it would have taken me probably 45 minutes at the time while it was all taken apart. I drove up north, and I am like pulling into a gas station, and I hear this like pop sound when I'm pulling in, and I'm like, oh, that's really like, that's screwed. And so then I pulled over at like some church. It was like way in the middle of nowhere, and I got my little jack out and jacked the car up, and like I just, you know, just to see if I could, you know, wiggle the wheel around to see if the wheel bearing had play, and it was like it had play everywhere. So my wheel bearing was blown, and I was like 4 or 5 hours away from home, and I didn't have any of my tools, like nothing. I had nothing. I was out in the, like literally the middle of nowhere. Luckily, I was like 2 miles away from town, from this like little town. And so I pull up to town, and or I walk there, and I had to stay the night at this hotel. It was like freezing cold out. It was like the middle of winter too. And so I'm like just dying. And so I stay, like I leave my car at some mechanic and hope, you know, just hope that he fixes it. And the next day I get a call from him like bright early in the morning, and he's like, yeah man, the wait is gonna be about 2 weeks before we can get to this car. And so I tried, like I literally tried everything with this guy. I'm like, oh, dude, like, is there anything I can do? Can I like do it myself there? And he just said no. He said I was SOL. So I get a bunch of tools. I bought a bunch of tools and I fixed it in like some field. Yo, never wanna, nose is running. Never wanna forget this moment, dude. I've got my entire everything taken apart in the middle of this field. Got these, got that, got the old one out. Sun's out, guns out, you know what I mean? But yeah, this has been a real one. And there she is. Dude, I fixed it in some field. That one, that wheel right there. All just because I didn't put the wheel bearing together the right way. So that was just brutal. Absolutely brutal. Now, the last thing that I did that was the dumbest thing that I've ever done with this car, ever, was there's like a boost control line that goes to the Subaru, or that goes to the turbo, I mean. And that line, it popped off because it didn't have a zip tie on it. And it caused it to get like a crazy amount more boost because it wasn't regulated at all. And so I was, basically driving around with no wastegate. And so I was able to just build like an insane amount of pressure, and it would like spool up to 23 or 4 psi. And the car is, barely reliable at 17. So like it's just a stupid amount of turbo boost. And I left it like that. I just left it like that. And I was like, yeah, like I'll just be careful. I'll just be careful, and I'll monitor my little boost gauge. And I was on the highway in 5th gear, and I was just a little heavy on the throttle, and just blew up. Like literally, like I watched out the back, out of the rearview mirror, just like a plume of oil. And yeah, so that's kind of where we are right now. It has a new motor in it, but I'm still having issues with it. I have no idea really what to do. If you want a little bit more information as to like what's going on with it, you can click this video and get more of the lowdown. Peace.